yeah. What?
Bamoni.
Yeah.
This is a more serious question. It says, why do most Africans love Indians but get the opposite from most Indians, with only a few exceptions like you?
Hello, guys. This is Beni.
And this is Dhru. And today we have a special video because we are not reacting to anything today. We are actually going to answer questions that were asked about us. We put it in the community a few days ago because our audience grew pretty fast. We were surprised ourselves. So we put down a few questions so that our audiences can get to know us better. Here we go. The first question is, why do you guys only react to Nigerian movies? Is there any future scope of different genres of reaction videos? Really good question. Actually, even before this question came around, I did ponder about how come we came to this junction, right? And it's kind of a little bit of a story because it's a combination of intention and coincidences. Basically, it was something I suggested to Beni that, we collaborate on something like this. But the inception of that idea happened in 2015. You guys may or may not know that I'm a very big traveler. And during one of my travels, this was in Kauai in 2015. I was there for about 6 days, and back to back, I did some of the craziest hikes. Like I must have covered about 100 miles on foot in those 6 days. So that was the first time when I was like, I would love to share it with people, share it with other women, presumably, who didn't believe that they could go on hikes by themselves and hike so much. I didn't know I had that kind of physical ability. So that's the time when I actually started shooting videos. And that's when the first thought of starting a YouTube channel came about. After I came back home, I had no idea like where to begin. And that plan kind of dropped off the radar. And then in 2019, again, during one of my travels, this time I was in Mexico. I flew into Cancun and did a road trip to Tulum. And there I met a really wonderful girl. Me and her became really good friends. And we ended up actually traveling together further down south in Mexico to Bacalar. That's where we actually decided, hey, let's go to Africa in 2020. And I was like, oh my God, Africa? Yes. And, I was always like, I want to go to Africa, but that would have required so much planning. Now I had another person who was an avid traveler. She had been on sailboats. She has sailed across the Pacific Ocean by herself. And I was like, wow, it would be really cool to go with her. So I was very excited. And 2020 happened, and you know how that went. So that didn't go well. Nothing happened. And so I was sitting at home, flustered, suffocated. And I was scrolling through Facebook, and I just bumped into a movie called Lionheart. And I was like, what is this about? Where is it from? Let's just watch it. Sometimes I just do random watches, and I ended up watching that movie and I loved it. And then I realized, okay, this is a movie in Nigeria, and this is a really good movie. And somehow all the thoughts combined together, because back in the day, if you wanted to expand your horizons, not everybody had the means to travel, and so they would watch shows, they would read books on places, right? And I felt like, if I can't go to Africa, Africa is coming to me through Netflix and YouTube videos and whatnot. And my first instinct was to discuss that with Beni. And so all those thoughts combined, I'm like, we have really interesting discussions, at least as per both of us. Like, we have a great time, and it would be wonderful to share it with the world. So that's how the inception of this channel happened. And if you actually check out our channel, our first reaction is to Lionheart. So that's how we started reacting to Nigerian movies. But obviously, we are not going to be limited to that. Like, Afrobeats is something we just discovered a few weeks ago, right? And our channel became much bigger, but we would be like more than happy to explore other genres of things. We have no limits.
In the beginning, it was just random fans, but we got more and more interested, and we were like dumbstruck with what the Nigerian entertainment business has to offer. The level of things, the kind of things, the narrative. Amazing. We are so glad that we came across this thing. And now that we started it, we're like, we don't want to stop. I mean, we as Indians, we find a lot of similarities. Along with that, we find many things that are quite different, and that comes as a pleasant exploration. It's lovely.
What also brought about a lot of joy for both of us is the fact that people like Coyote Kasum and Toluwani Obayon agreed to talk to us, have a podcast with us. And that's when we didn't even have 100 subscribers. And we are so like in awe of them. They had nothing to gain other than a wonderful conversation and that we had both of them. This channel to me is about sharing of ideas, like learning from Africa, and then us as Indians having that voice that, okay, what does this mean? How does that relate to our lives? Is it relatable or not? And also expanding our horizons and hopefully helping you guys see a different perspective as well. I, in fact, had another experimental channel, which is called Inquisitive Iguana, where I did some travel videos. You know, I might put in some thoughts, some perspectives, some introspection. You know, I have so many ideas. There's also some short stories I've written. Beni does poetry. This channel has started as a reaction video channel, but there's a lot of scope with what we could do. And you guys can let us know if you would be interested in those different aspects, you know, or I can put it in the other channel. We haven't made those decisions yet, but there's a lot that we can do and that I definitely want to do. So the next question is, how did you both meet and how come you react from different locations? Very good question. And I'm going to say,
meet you?
Yeah, I'm going to say I met you when I was born.
Yeah, it was because of our parents, right?
Yeah.
So we're basically sisters.
Yeah, we are sisters and we are 5 years apart. Beni's the older one. And I was born in Switzerland and we moved back to India when I was 2 years old. And then we grew up together in India. And then I moved to the US in 2009 for further studies. And I ended up staying here. So now I live in the US and Beni lives in India, and which is why we react from different locations, because it's a very long flight to do reaction videos, and technology is really good now.
Seriously thankful to the lockdown, because that's the reason we explored this thing. You know, that's the reason we are doing this. Otherwise, it wouldn't have popped up into our heads, and in Dhru's head especially. And also, we live very different kinds of lifestyles, and yet we find the time to do this, and we bond as sisters doing this. Especially, that's the most heartwarming thing for me, that I get time to spend with my sister again and again, doing something that we love to do. You know, we just love doing this.
Is any of you guys dating a Nigerian? Have you ever been to Nigeria or any other African country? Those are two questions. And
are you dating a Nigerian guy?
No, I'm dating Nigerian movies and Afrobeats. That's what I'm dating. So no, I'm not dating a Nigerian guy. Are you dating a Nigerian guy?
No.
Yeah. And in terms of visiting an African country, not yet, as I said in my previous example, but I'm planning something, you know, and Nigeria is definitely a possibility. If that does happen, by the way, guys, would you guys be interested in a meetup, you know, in a YouTube meetup where we can all hang out? You guys can maybe give me suggestions or show me around, whatever, you know. Would you guys be interested in that? You know, let us know.
Yeah, and me, I've had a crazy obsession with Africa since birth, maybe. Since I've been watching TV, National Geographic, Serengeti, and Masai Mara, and I loved Egypt. I wanted to become an Egyptologist. At that time, I didn't even know that Egypt was part of Africa.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't
Which is
know it at
strange,
that
right? Like it wasn't common
Right.
knowledge.
Right. So I've had this childhood dream that someday I'll go for an African safari. I'd like to meet people from the Maasai tribe. I'd like to meet people from Africa, wherever, whoever.
The next question is, why are you both extremely beautiful? That's my question. Ooh, because someone here is going crazy, especially for Dhru. It kind of rhymes.
Yay! Oh, Dhru!
I honestly do not know how to react to that, but I'm flattered. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And why are we beautiful, Beni?
Because we're sisters.
Because we're sisters, and our parents are beautiful, by the way. They're gorgeous people. So, all right. This is a longer question. It says, why did you guys choose Nigeria of all African countries? I mean, no harm. I'm Nigerian, by the way, but I'm more than surprised because I went through all your posts and I saw it started with Nigerian movie trailers. That didn't go too well, but you switched to music videos, comedies, and rest. So why Nigeria, leaving South Africa, Ghana, Togo, just to mention but a few? I'm just inquisitive though, not that I mean any bad things. Thanks. And that's a good question. I think we answered why we went with Nigerian stuff. And then moving from Nigerian trailers, movie trailers to Afrobeats was not actually a strategic move. It was because when our audience was much smaller, like within 100 subscribers, if anybody would suggest anything, we would react to it. So I think our channel kind of took off. And when someone suggested reacting to Burna Boy, it also shows that like for 2 years, we had less than 100 subscribers. And yet we kept doing reaction videos because this was not a business for us. We were not trying to actively get monetized. We were just having fun. And even now, I do not treat this as a business, but the business aspect is definitely a good perk because there are some operational costs that go into creating, maintaining this channel, and also time, which is not a monetary cost, but it takes quite some time to do all those edits. And I do that all by myself. There is time, effort, and money that goes into it. So the monetary benefit of that is definitely a good perk, but that's not why we started. And as far as other regions, other countries are involved, like it is not something we are actively planning, but we in no way intend to limit this channel. We intend to look at and react to anything that we find interesting and inspiring and cool. This is a more serious question. It says, why do most Africans love Indians, but get the opposite from most Indians with only a few exceptions like you? I'm going to take an educated guess on this. I mean, why do most Africans love Indians? That's something you guys can tell us. As far as the issue with Indians not being as welcoming, I think it's a more deep-rooted issue, which is about colorism. Colorism has been a part of India since the colonial rule. Indians were under the British rule for close to or maybe over 200 years. And the British rule at the time, the Britishers believed in divide and rule because it made things easier for them. And that created a lot of problems in the society, clashes between religions, casteism, colorism. And actually, I'm not going to speak for all Indians, but there is discrimination against Indians themselves who are of darker skin. And so many Africans, I've come to know there are lighter skinned Africans who are much lighter than us. But for those Africans who are darker skinned, they unfortunately get to see that side of discrimination. And this is actually true in many countries. Even in Mexico, I came to find that darker is less desirable. In many Asian countries, I think in Korea, they try to protect themselves from the sun because of these stigmas or these archaic thought processes that exist, which shouldn't exist, but unfortunately that is a reality. But that's not the only reality. There's also wonderful, kind, loving, welcoming Indians.
I like to say that before the Britishers, Indians did not really have much of colorism as far as I understand. Because see, in India, we have gods who are dark skin and we love them, right? We have Krishna, there's a dark skin god, right? We have Kali, she's a beloved
Oh,
goddess.
she's the darkest of all. She's darker than nighttime.
In our culture, we love, dark skin as well. But due to the colonial rule, and I think Nigerians and other Africans would understand this because even they were under the colonial rule, right? And I think I mentioned this in one of my movie reactions that we did. But there was a time I read an article in which they stated that before the white men came to Africa, there were just tribes and either they mutually coexisted or they would be warring with each other, but there was no color discrimination. There was no real, categorization or casteism or any such thing. But after the Britishers or the white men, whichever white men came over there, they started, categorizing them as dark, lighter and lightest. Then African people themselves started looking at themselves in that manner. This is an article I read. I don't know how true it is. You guys can tell us whether this is true for you or not. But in India, definitely, that's where this colorism is deep rooted because of that. And we still tend to face these things. But although we consider people like Deepika Padukone, we consider people like Bipasha Basu, Priyanka Chopra, we consider them very pretty.
Yeah, but the truth is they're not very dark either. Right, there is a threshold. We don't see that in mainstream, and that is an issue because there are Indians who are super dark, right? Like, and they don't have representation. So that is a problem with India. But I also believe that is a problem with Nigeria. I was watching an interview of an actress. She was in Wedding Party 2. I'm gonna find her name out, or I'm gonna type it out here. I saw an interview of hers and she said that people think that I found my way into Nollywood much easier because I'm lighter skinned. And I was very surprised to hear that exists in Nigeria as well, where I wouldn't have expected it. So that is a thing that has happened with just the colonization of our countries. And I wish it didn't exist. I wish there was more representation in Bollywood of darker people. There is now becoming a more conscious representation of people from the Northeast who look much different, but there is a lot more work to do. And I think if those things change, maybe it will bring societal change. These are interesting questions and we really appreciate it in terms of getting to know your thoughts. And then I hope that we were on point in answering your questions. But what we would love to get from you guys is suggestions of different genres, different kinds of videos. We're open to suggestions. I know our subscriber count is much bigger now than it was, but I'm always reading the comments and we are always making a list of things we want to react to. Yeah, if you like our videos, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell icon so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. Actually like our video if you liked it, share it with friends, spread the word, and until next time, Odabo.
Odabo.